Hey guys, Fifth Dimension here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I remixed Home by Infowler. Let's just jump right into that. Alright, so let's start out with the intro. I'll just play that really quick. Alright, why did I save it? I have no idea. So this is pretty simple. I have is some reverse piano with reverb on it. And I believe that's this piano, which I rendered out. And then just reversed it. Get back here. And then I have the main piano here. This is a Keystone Classic. It's a pretty decent piano plugin. It works fine. Though I do prefer the Labs soft piano for a lot of stuff, but it just didn't have the hardness for this track that I wanted to have. So I'll play this here. And this, I did a little post-processing on this. So you can see it sounds super hard and boring without it. Kind of went for a Porter Robinson vibe on it. Then I added this glitch delay on it. It just adds a little bit of character to it. And that's basically the entire intro. Wait, I forgot about the vocal chops. The vocal chops are just these. And they're basically just getting filtered in by this auto filter. You can wait, it's not this auto filter. Wait, which auto filter is it? Do I have another one? I do have another auto filter here. Alright, yeah. I don't know why I used two. Probably because I use this one for different parts in the bridge. It's pretty simple. Vocal chops. I cut it from the main vocal here. All these wasted heat. And I pitched it. I did pitch it up an octave. It's just I rendered it up, I believe. Alright, let's move on to the bridge. The bridge I like actually a lot better than the intro, I'm being honest. Alright, let's start with the drums first of all. The drums are really simple, just floor to the floor. What are the floor? The floor? I actually don't know what it is. Something like that. Just Cashmere signature kick, number 1, combined with a very reverby clap that I actually don't like. Alright, it's fine, honestly. And then laid over there we have some strings from Labs. I highly recommend getting this if you don't have it. It's a strings ensemble pack. I just leave silver again. I did some post on this. Actually, I had to because without it, it's kind of hard to hear, but it's very panned. So basically what I did is I took this EQ, put it on left and right, and cut out some certain parts that were more boosted in some frequencies. And obviously I put some reverb on it. And I have a different set of EQs for later on, but I'll get into that later. And I have an auto filter to cut out some lows. And then auto filter, oh that's only for there. Alright, talk about that later. And then we have the main chords, which are being sidechained by volume automation, which triggers an every kick. top of here, this group, I believe. Oh, it's in here. Alright. This group has an auto filter on that is on 1/6, so it creates kind of a pluck here. Zoom out on max. I kind of liked how it sounded. Then this entire thing is made up of just a pretty simple chord stack. It's just basic supersaws, 1 octave up, some detune, a filter, another filter actually, reverb, and a multiband compressor. And then I actually have more layers down here, which have the MIDI linked to the main saw. It's basically the same thing except without this octave and a little more detuned, and low end cutout and a bit of high end cutout. What did I do here? And it's kind of the same thing, just a little lower version of this to give it more depth. And we have a really weird one. I actually don't know why I even put this in. I guess it's just on more grit to the entire sound, because actually no, it's just a normal. I don't know what I did here, honestly, but it sounds nice, so that's all I need. Then I have a really simple saw base with white noise. Just some simple distortion on it. Then I put an auto filter to cut out the very low, so leave room for, I believe, the sub bass. Yeah, there is a sub bass. Then I cut off the highs, because obviously. Actually, did I already filter that out? Oh no, I did that before I filtered out all the highs on the main bass group. Alright, so let's just hear that all together. Wrong file. And that's that. I forgot to mention the piano, which is a little higher, just a simple melody here. But then on every third measure, I have the melody from, oops, oh, I wanted home stems. I don't know which one of these it is. Definitely not that, but it's a really pretty melody. And when that comes in, I have the vocals filtered out, so it isn't too busy. It's very subtle, but it's a nice effect. Alright, let's move on to the build-up. This is where it starts to get kind of interesting. The main vocal comes in, obviously. Alright, so let's start off with the part right after the intro. Right here I just have some simple cinematic drums from the Kitsmere orchestral drums back, I believe. It's a pretty simple loop, but it triggers on the change of the chords to add a bit of weight. And I believe I have the strings deactivated, and then I just have the main vocal, which is very pretty. I gotta give props to Dayaj. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then you have the main chords repeating, except for without this little pitch bend thing, which I forgot to mention on the bass. which I thought sounded very nice. Oh, and I added in horns or brass. And then here, after 4 measures, I cut the chord so it's only one chord. I like to do this a lot because it adds a lot of tension, because the way the human brain works is it likes change. So when you have this chord progression here, let me just play it real quick. It expects that and it wants it. So basically what you do is you don't give the brain the release it wants to build up tension for the drop. And what I believe I have going on here is actually I'm just filtering the chords in to hype up the drop. But then I also have on the master, I'll get into my mastering chain at the end. I have an auto filter which goes up to a very high 500 hertz, so basically cutting out all the sub and a lot of the low bass. And then we have the drums here. The drums are pretty simple build-up drums. It's basically just the snare getting pitched up continually. And also, it was originally filtered here, so I took off the filter later on to add in high end. And there's also the cinematic drums playing in the background. So I use that as a bit of a fill into the drop. And let's go to the first drop here. Let's just keep with the first part of the drop for now. And it's just the main saws from earlier, except before I did not have this chord here. I only had this going. So at the end, I added this chord to make it a complete chord progression instead of 3 chords. And in addition, in the intro, each chord was 2 seconds long. And in here, in the drop, each chord is only 1 second long to make it less repetitive. And here's the entire chord stack. That's not the entire chord stack. And as in the intro, the chords are sidechained to the kick. And let me show you the drums. They're basically just pretty typical dubstep drums with alternating hi-hats and kicks on every beat and with some extra ones. Pretty self-explanatory. In the chords, I cut out some spots to make room for basses like this, which I'll actually show you how to make right now. It's actually a very simple bass. Actually, or maybe it isn't. I have 2 sine waves not sidechained, FM'd. And using here, it's basically nothing without the FM. So the FM creates kind of this bounce. And I kind of copy this from some 7 Lions tracks. He likes to use this a lot. It's a really nice bouncy effect. I don't have any effects here. I'll do some post after. Just a saturated, make it louder. EQ to take out some of the annoying low end because it was not mixed well with the full low end and a bit of the highs. I also put it in mono. Actually, I did. Oh, this is a trick I learned from Crow, who you should actually go check out. Very good producer. What I like to do is I put this in mono. If something isn't clean, like, or it doesn't have a nice stereo image, so what I like to do, I put it in mono, so it's completely mono. Then I put it into Serum FX, which comes through with Serum. Then I just put the dimension on 100, and there you go, stereo image. I also put a OTT on it, just because why not? And what is this? Yes, I'll get into that later. It's just a really cool effect. Oh yes, very cool sound. And as you can see, I just disabled the entire chord track to make room for it. Oh, I also, in these breaks, I just put in these strings to kind of like build into the next chord. Alright, and right here, I have a drum fill leading into the second part of the drop. Very generic drum fill, but it gets the job done. I shall play it with the drum fill. The idea. Yeah, I also forgot to mention the chords are getting filtered out as the drum fill goes. And in the second part of the drop, I remove I remove all of the cuts, so it's one big wall of sound. Then I also add in the piano from the intro. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Because reasons. So you can hear that. Yeah, I also have a very similar fill to in here to spice up this part a little bit because it's very monotonous and continuous. Basically keeps it from getting repetitive. Oh, I also have these. With so much post, I'm not even gonna get into that because it's basically a waste of time. Because it basically is just adding a lot more. Just saturation, compression, OTT. Yeah, it's pretty simple. There's just a lot of it. It looks impressive, but it's really not. And then at the end here, that's transition into the side trance drop. So here I have this space from before, except for so I let it play here, and what I basically did here, oh, it's still going, I have this really good plugin, Hysteresis. Yeah, Hysteresis. And this is a free plugin. I would highly recommend getting it if you don't have it already. It's a really good glitch plugin. Basically what I did is I added some delay to it with a ton of feedback. I did a bit of filtering just to add some character to it, and then I added modulation to give it a bit of like a valley undertone. and then I filtered it. Then I used volume automation to bring it back in. Wait. There's a cool kind of monstery effect that I think really transitions you really nicely into the darker part of the track. Because you can't hear it unless you play with this part. Oh, and this audio effect track is basically just making it sound better. You can barely hear it without it. It's just OTT, saturator, another OTT, and then I did the same trick that I did earlier because this was a really nasty stereo image. You can hear that's all over the place. And kind of painful to listen to, honestly. So let's transition into the side transfer of this track. All these wasted years, following your wake, longing for your warmth, as the cold keeps me awake. Alright, so here I have the main vocal from the original track all these wasted years, with some reverb and all that nice stuff. Then I have no drums. Oh, I have a single kick. Then I have Cashmere. I have the same brass sample from earlier, playing a single note, which is, I believe, a C, which is the main root note of the track, as it's in C minor. Then I have piano. Sit. Oh, I don't have that playing here. There we go, yeah, all the cups in there. And we have the main bass. This is a very nice re-space. It's basically just some big saws with dimension, hyperdimension, distortion, compression, and a filter to remove the high end. Also pitch bend to add more character. As the cold keeps me away. Then here I start filtering in more plucky bass. Actually, yeah, I'll just play it. Keeps me away. Alright, so right here I have some vocal shots playing, just as a nice transition into the main drop, and that's nice too. And here we have some future garage drums. Keeps me away. Just some crow percussion with rim shots and metallic, also with the Cashmere signature kick. Pretty simple. And then we have this start becoming a plucky psytrance bass. And then we transition into the main drop. Also, I have this really nice reverse riser piano. So. So let's just start the psytrance drop, and then I have the same piano from earlier with the same riser, and also the same bass melody, except it's plucky now. Also has these pitch bends, which I'm actually gonna add it to here. Which I forgot to do. Probably should have done that before I submitted this. Yeah. Then I have Cashmere brass sample. And I also have a cymbal arc crash playing on the start of every measure, or every 5 seconds. And then it transitions into the second part, which is a nice vocal, which might come from here. It's basically a not pitched up version of that. I also put a cymbal on every second BTS second beat, and that's pretty simple. And let's move on to the outro.
What we had was rare, obscured by your shadow, yet blinded by your light. I wonder what we could have been before you dissolved into the night.
Alright, so that might be my favorite part of the entire song, since I love cinematic stuff. So it's actually not too complicated. Just have these chords rising up be filtered into here. And then I have the reverb being filtered into the main vocal. And then I have the same strings from earlier, except lower down. And then to add a sense of finality, I added some nice chords. At the end, I have the same Cashmere Brass sample. Alright, and that's the entire track. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something, make sure to subscribe, because hopefully I will be posting more stuff like this in the future. I will also be streaming on my Twitch channel, which I will link in the description. Also, don't forget to check out the original track by Infowler, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.